Okay, yeah, guys, we are back. You know the drill. Like, and subscribe, guys. Also, comment. Also, now we will be doing a week 4 lesson 3.
We've looked at variables that store text, but what about variables that store numbers? Now let's have a bit of fun. We'll start off by adding a new paragraph. We'll give this paragraph an ID. In keeping with the previous naming structure, we'll call it paragraph 2, and we'll leave it empty. We're going to use that a little later. Now let's declare two number variables. We'll call the first one num_a and the second one, not surprisingly, num_b. Now remember, you can name your variables just about anything you want, but there are certain rules when it comes to naming variables. Now you'll find these rules in the accompanying course to this video on the website. Okay, so moving on, we are going to add some text to that empty paragraph that we added earlier on. And not surprisingly, we're going to use the variables that we just created. Okay, so we're going to start off with document.getElementById. Again, we're looking for paragraph 2. Dot inner HTML is equal to, num_a. There we go. So in other words, the value that's going to be stored inside paragraph 2, or that's going to be displayed in paragraph 2, would be the value of num_a. But there's a problem. Num_a, although we declared it as a variable, doesn't have a value yet. We haven't actually assigned a value to num_a as yet. So let's assign a value. Now earlier on we saw that you can assign a value separately to declaring the variable. So for example, we declared text1 as a variable up there, and then we assigned a value to it down here. But if you want a quicker way to declare a variable and assign it a value, you can do everything in the same line. So let's look at this. You could say var num_a is equal to 7 and var num_b is equal to 10. Now num_a has the value 7 stored in it, and num_b has a value 10 stored in it. So when you output this line, it should actually output the value 7. Let's see if it works. Save this, head off to the browser, refresh, and there we go. 7. I think by now you're getting the hang of this. Okay, let's try something. What if we try to do some arithmetic with variables? If you recall, previously we added two numbers right there inside these brackets, and JavaScript outputted the sum of those two numbers because we had the plus sign in between. Will that happen with variable names? Let's check it out. Save and refresh. And sure enough, let's try something. What if we try to do some arithmetic with variables? If you recall, previously we added two numbers right there inside these brackets, and JavaScript outputted the sum of those two numbers because we had the plus sign in between. Will that happen with variable names? Let's check it out. Save and refresh. And sure enough, JavaScript added the two numbers together and provided us as output the sum of those two numbers. Awesome. So just because variables are declared as numbers, as integer numbers, they will behave like numbers. Let's change the sign in there. let's use the minus sign. So we have num A minus num B. So that would be 7 minus 10. Okay, so we're getting into some negative algebra here. There we go. Minus 3. That's your answer. Awesome. In the same way, you can also use the multiplication sign, which in JavaScript, as well as almost every programming language, it's the asterisk, which is Shift A. It's not the X like we have at school, like we use at school. All right, let's save this guy and refresh. And there we go.
Hi, bro.
7 times 10, there we go. Minus 3. That's your answer. Awesome. In the same way, you can also use the multiplication sign, which in JavaScript, as well as almost every programming language, it's the asterisk, which is Shift A.
I press Shift A.
X like we have at school, like we use at school.
Okay, let's control save. If it doesn't work, and then we'll try that Shift A again. Okay, it's a star. It's a star.
All right, let's save this guy and refresh, and there we go. 7 times 10 is 70. Awesome. Now, let's try something different. What if we wanted to include text as well as numbers inside the output of a paragraph? Let's try it out. Put a double quote and some text. Close double quotes.
The answer. Okay. The answer is space. Okay. We're gonna put a color and then we're gonna close the double quote. Shift. Yeah, space. Control S.
Followed by the plus sign. Remember the plus? In text, it works as a concatenator. It joins text together. Will this actually work?
Yeah. Control S.
What is our expectation? Our expectation is that it will display the answer is
Don't forget
70.
the plus.
Let's see if it works. Save and refresh. The answer is 70.
The answer is 70, okay.
So it worked exactly as we expected. What JavaScript did was it recognized this section as text, and it recognized these two variables as numbers, and very efficiently it did the arithmetic here, basically multiplied these two together, and then it added the answer to the string. Now let's make it a little more exciting. Let's make JavaScript output this sentence. 7 times 10 is equal to, and the answer. All right, now we're getting a little ambitious here. So num A will display 7 plus, and then we put the times sign.
Again. Okay. Shift plus. Times sign.
Which in normal school arithmetic is the x, and then we put in the value num b plus, are you following, is equal to num a times num b.
Yeah. Num b plus ndizumsusa la phasi lapha. Okay, mandimsuse. Ndizumsusa. Okay, shift plus, then space, and then we need this again is equal to.
What's going on here? Let's analyze this line first before we go and see the output. What we say to JavaScript is output num_a, meaning output the value 7, then output an x, which is the symbol for multiplication, then output num_b, which is 10, then output the equals to sign, which is text again, that's why it's in double quotes, just like the x. These are both text. And after the equals to sign, output the value of num_a times num_b. Now notice I've put in a space before and after the x and before and after the equals to sign. I'm sure you can guess why I did that. It's because if we don't do that, then everything will be just squeezed up together without any proper spaces, and it'll look
terrible. Wait, on my side I see it marked this as an error. I'm not sure, but on his side NUM still. Okay, wait, let's save and then see if this will be an issue. It says I have 2 errors, but okay.
Alright, let's refresh this. And there's an error. Let's go back and look for that error. Let's look at this line very, very carefully. I've left out something. I've missed out something here. Let's start going through it again. Num_a plus, double quotes, x plus. Whoa, the plus is missing.
Exactly.
Added the plus, num_b plus, double quotes, equals to plus.
Yes,
num_a times num_b should be fine. Let's refresh.
Control S.
And there we go. 7 times 10 is equal to 70. So you're learning quite a bit here. You see how to create and how to declare double quotes equals to plus num_a times num_b. Should be fine. Let's refresh, and there we go. 7 times 10 is equal to 70. So you're learning quite a bit here. You're seeing how to create and how to declare variables, how to assign values to them, and also how to output those variables.
So yes, guys, this is the end of the session for week 4, lesson 3. Please subscribe and like, guys, please. I've seen a lot of people are watching without liking and also watching without subscribing. Please